was this effective.
Okay.
Let's try it in a different way. Let's
Yeah.
try using the steps.
Okay, so yeah,
Okay.
so this was one way of going about this, complex situation at work, and you kind of saw how it went. So we want to show you how this may sound like using compassionate communication. So I'm going to let go of the jackal speaking, and I'm going to bring up the giraffe.
And maybe that jackal is still inside, but this jackal is going to translate this into the giraffe language now.
That's right.
Let's see how that works.
So Vesna, I'm just noticing that. Vesna, do you have a second to talk about something?
Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I'm just noticing that this last 5 days in a row, I've noticed that the garbage wasn't taken out by 10 a.m. And for 5 days in a row, I took the garbage out myself. And I just want you to know that I'm really worried about the garbage situation. I'm concerned about it, and I'm just really hoping that there could be more of a shared responsibility in the office. Would you be willing to work with me in finding a solution to that?
Let me see. What do you have to say? I noticed that there is always garbage, and I noticed that nobody is taking it and emptying it. And then, you're telling me this, so let me hear you.
Yeah, I'm noticing that too. I'm noticing that there's garbage.
Mm-hmm.
Like this week, 5 days in a row, I saw the garbage. It was like already 10 o'clock in the office, and the garbage was still there. So I get really confused. I guess I'm also needing some clarity. I'm needing some structure. Would you be willing to set up a structure where we maybe designate, who takes out the garbage on which day, so there's a sense of clarity and it can be communicated? Would you be willing to do that?
Well, do you think that's my job to do this?
Okay. So in this moment, I'm going to show you 4 ways that I can respond to her thing. I made a request to her, and she's giving me a response that's not totally easy to hear.
Yeah.
So there's 4 ways to respond to that. So the first way is these jackal ears faced outward. So just repeat your answer again. Would you be willing to create a schedule around this?
Do you think that's my job?
Whoa, I just heard that through these jackal ears, and if I hear it through the jackal ears, I'm going to get mad. Because now I'm in the jackal, and I'm going to get really offended. I'm going to think, what kind of a boss are you? Why are they paying you that much money? If they're paying you that much money, you better not be a lazy boss. So this is one way of responding it, which means that I'm kind of attacking her back, I'm judging her back, because I heard her message through these ears. But there's another way to hear them. So jackal ears faced inward. So I make the request, would you be willing to work out a schedule with me and designate the duty of the garbage?
I don't think that's my job.
So now I'm hearing this message and I have these ears faced inward. Now this may sound something like this. I may go, you know what? Why does everybody walk all over me? I'm the one who's taking the garbage out. And I'm trying to communicate here, but I guess I'm not a strong person. Maybe I'm just weak. Maybe I'm just not assertive enough. Maybe I'm just a loser or something. Everybody takes advantage of me. So what's happening right now?
Yeah. You're jackling yourself.
That's right. So I'm taking this difficult conversation, unfortunately, because of these jackal ears. In this case, I'm really internalizing it. I'm judging myself. So either I'm going to get angry and attack, which means we're going to really disconnect probably, or I'm going to get really hard on myself, then I'm going to get disconnected in myself. So not a very happy option.
Not happy. So it's like punching somebody or punching yourself.
That's right. But the good news is there's this advanced technology that's available. If I would just remember to put my giraffe ears on while I'm communicating, especially in a situation like this. So I make a request, I've already expressed my feelings and my needs. My request is, would you be willing to work out a schedule around the garbage?
I don't think that's my job.
Okay. So with these giraffe ears, all I can hear is her feelings and needs. So with my giraffe ears, now I'm going to listen to her. So we said listening is an important skill, so I may want to say something like, so Vesna, when you hear my request, are you feeling really worried? Are you really needing just some clarity about what you're responsible for and what you're not responsible for?
Of course. I have too many responsibilities here. I cannot think about the garbage.
So I also,
well.
It sounds like maybe you're feeling really are you feeling really stressed out and overwhelmed? Are you needing some support?
Of course I do. Yes, it's clear.
Sounds like there's so much in your head, and it's not so easy for you to, to keep track of everything. Like ideally, you would like maybe different ways of doing things. So
You said so.
Yeah.
You noticed that. Did you notice that? That I'm the only one doing all the work around here.
That's right.
There is no help, like nobody's helping me.
So it sounds like you would really like more awareness around us, more
Yes.
understanding, and maybe
Yes.
that you really want to see that other people understand, and maybe also be willing to take more responsibility and initiative around the office.
Yeah, thank you for noticing that.
Yeah. So here's a wonderful piece where I chose to listen to her, and she looks like a happy person to me right now. So I could have taken that personally, I could have fought with her, but just me deciding to listen to her has already shifted the dynamic. For example, just to play with this role play just one step forward, once I've given her empathy, I may give her another suggestion. Now that I understand her needs, I may say, oh, Wesna, I'm really getting that you got so much on your plate, so the idea of coordinating the garbage thing would be too stressful for you. Would you be willing for me to do the coordination? I would be willing to create a schedule. I would be willing to follow up on it. I would be willing, like the person who's responsible. But would you just be willing to just give the okay to the project, just so that everybody knows that it's not just my idea, but it's also has your support? Would you be willing just to, just to give your verbal support to it and designate me as the person who does the schedule?
I would love to do that.
Wow, I'm so relieved and grateful, because it really means my need for support. I'm guessing that a lot of people will be relieved, and most importantly, I think we're going to have a much cleaner office to work with.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. That's great.
Okay, and one last option is when the draft ears are faced inward. This is what we call self-empathy. So this is not trying to understand her, but it's more like trying to understand me. So let's say if I was saying, would you be willing to designate me as the person, and you give a negative response?
No, I don't think that's a good idea.
So now I feel really, really disappointed. And I'm like thinking, oh my God, I'm trying to communicate with her and making a reasonable request. So I'm upset again. So this is the moment where I probably need to give myself some self-empathy. So what does that sound like? I ask myself now, what am I feeling? So I'm, really tuning into my feelings. I'm feeling so upset and so frustrated and helpless and despair and just so painful. So those are my feelings. And I ask myself, what am I needing right now? I'm really needing some cooperation. I'm really needing some understanding. I'm just really needing just a chance to make things better. I'm just really needing some, mutual way of working with things. So if I can take a moment and give self-empathy to myself, I can really help myself to calm down. And then I can come back to the dialogue and maybe start talking with Vesna. And I may say, are you worried about even designating it to me? Because are you worried about what other people may think about this?
Yes, I don't know what effect this will have on the other co-workers.
It sounds like you want to find a solution that will work for everybody.
Yes, of course.
Would you be willing for us to talk about this in our next meeting?
Oh, I haven't thought of that. That's a great idea.
Because then everybody would be there and wondering if we could all work as a team and find
Yeah.
something that will work for everybody. Would you be willing to bring this as an item in the next meeting?
Sure.
Great.
I think I can do that.
Thank you. That works for me. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Okay.
And what I think is maybe important to add that this is why don't people communicate in this way? Like, what's the problem? Like, because this works. Like, because we are so encultured and we are so conditioned to to communicate in a way that is actually not bringing us together, and that this unlearning, like that this skill is like learning a new language, and that's why it takes time, and that's why it's very difficult, especially with the people who are closer to you, and it's especially difficult in power, where power and relation, where there is a power involved, and that's why it's not easy, but it's possible, because what you might get from the students is, this is, this won't work. A lot of students will be skeptical And I think they will be asking you, like, do you think this is for real? You know, like that. I don't believe this. It's just that the way we are used to communicate is not contributing to connection. And if we take time, like we are reacting instantly, instead of taking the time and connecting with ourselves and our intentions before we talk. So that's, I think, is very important.
And just to cap what Wisna is saying, another way of saying what Wisna is saying is that at the beginning we're baby giraffes. When we're first learning these skills, there may be some situations it won't be so easy, but that's why we need to learn, that's why we need to practice. And with practice, it gets easier and easier and easier, and yes, it does work, but just like anything, like learning a new musical instrument, just because you bought a new flute doesn't mean that you're going to be able to go home and play the most amazing song. Probably not going to sound too great, but yeah, the baby giraffe with some support can definitely grow up and be able to handle more difficult situations.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
You do.